Hi there, I'm Megan and I go by Solar Glow Meditations. Tonight we're going to have a distance Reiki session where I have selected a group of tarot cards already ahead of the session to help direct what energy we're working on tonight. And then I've also selected some crystals to help guide the energy as we flow through it and move through it. Couple things before we get started. If you'd like, I do have an ad-free version of this session, if you will, in my memberships option on my YouTube channel. It's a little bit cheaper than YouTube Premium if you'd like to do that. And then if you guys have requests for different Reiki sessions you'd like me to do, just let me know in the comments. I do read through those. I do try to get to as many as I can, but I don't always get to all of them. So I think that might be it. Oh, I do need your consent to work on your energy. So either out loud, in the comments, in your head, wherever you feel most comfortable, just agree to receive this energy healing. And with that, let's get started. We're going to just start with Lapis Lazuli, however you say it. I've heard it said both ways. I will also be linking in the description box all of these stones, so you don't have to remember what stones I used if you wanted to come back and find one for yourself. So, the first part of this reading that we're dealing with is difficult decisions, weighing options. You've almost had like a blindfold over your eyes for what you're trying to, or what you've tried to make a decision on. And so we're using this lapis as a way to really start to hone into our intuition. What is our higher self telling us? What is our gut telling us? And by tuning in and listening, you're going to know what the right choice is for you. And it's okay if it doesn't come right away, but notice how you start to feel as you think about the situation and one decision. How does that feel for you? Just pick one and think about it. Is there a way in which you can have a decision be a win-win for perhaps you and whatever the other side of this decision is? It might be like a person that disagrees with you. It might be deciding what direction you want to take a business. It might be deciding what job you want to take or not take. And it very well could be that you don't feel like there's a good option for either decision that you have to make. And the decision might actually be to make a decision or to make no decision at all. Not moving is still a decision. You're very intuitive. It's as if you know what decision you want to make, but you're nervous for it, you're a little bit fearful. You don't want to make decisions out of fear. You want to make them from a place of strength and confidence. One thing I like to do when making a decision is gather as much data as you possibly can. And that leads us very nicely into our next crystal and next card. We're going to be using Amethyst. You don't have all the data yet because you haven't talked to anybody. One of the things that you need to do is go talk to people. You need to collaborate, gather ideas. Perhaps somebody sees things from a different perspective that you're not thinking about. So maybe you grab your best friend for a coffee, maybe you talk to your boss or a trusted coworker, maybe your partner if you have one, maybe your parents or siblings, just anybody that you can talk to. Make sure they're a little bit removed from whatever the situation is, too. For example, if you're looking at changing jobs, maybe you don't want to talk to your boss because your boss is going to be invested in one way. Or maybe you do because maybe you trust their judgment and they perhaps have a good idea of where your career is going. You will know who the right person is to talk to. And it's just the first person that comes into your head when you think about the situation. Just go with your gut, go with who you think you need to talk to. And don't worry about whatever judgment that may or may not come. I'm starting to get this like feelings of judgment in the back of my throat, and I don't want you to feel judged at all, because one of the best kind of perspective shifters that I've encountered is, if you think about the situation 5 years from now, is what you're doing right in this very moment, is it going to matter? And chances are the answer is no. Nobody's going to think less of you because you decided one way or another. We're all here to learn, here to journey, here to grow. And so don't worry about what someone might think of you. Even if you just know deep down that they might be like disappointed or hurt, don't worry about that. It's your life, not theirs. And you're the one that has to live with it, whatever the decision may be. I really don't like giving out homework, but your homework after this session is to go text whoever this is that you just want to chat with them about whatever the situation is. Wonderful thing about having these networks of people that we trust and can talk to is that they're going to help lend you strength and confidence. And that is the very next card we're working with here. I've got some malachite to help lend you the strength and courage and confidence to make this decision. You might even know what the decision is that you should make right now, but before you actually finalize this decision, you still need to go talk to people. Even if it's just one person, even if it's so uncomfortable. Talking about the situation to people out in the world is going to help relieve some of this energy and this burden that you've been feeling about this decision, and especially feeling like you've been blind. It's going to help lift that veil up a little bit. And as you do that, the energy starts to move, it starts to flow, it starts to release. Saying the words gets it out of your body and out into the ether. And even saying it out loud might help you gain that confidence and strength, just even talking about what the situation is. Malachite is really, really great. It's a very dense grounding stone, but it's also associated with your heart chakra. So even if this decision isn't logical in your brain or in your intuition, it should align with your heart. But we're working to align your heart and your head. And your intuition is going to help guide where your heart wants to go with that lapis that we used at the beginning. As this strength and confidence begins to grow, I'm starting to feel the joy well up inside of you. It's like bringing earth energy up from the center of the earth and bringing it throughout your body. The energy has shifted a bit, and you're probably feeling that right now. It's gone from this like very buzzy, excited, like felt like I should keep talking to help guide you through this meditation to not feeling like I need to talk so much because you're just starting to settle into this, what this potential outcome could be. You've already gone through the worst case scenario in your head. And the worst case scenario, the outcome of that is really not that bad. And the best case is really, really good. You're starting to see here that the opportunities outweigh the risks. And you are starting to realize that even if you make this decision, it seems like it's kind of a two-way door. You might be able to reverse your decision in the future if the outcome isn't what you like. And so, really, the risk is very minimal because you can change course if it doesn't work out like you expect it to. Good. So, what does this lead us to? Well, the next crystal I'm going to be using is called brown goldstone or goldstone. There's quite a bit of consternation around this stone. It is, in fact, a man made stone. It's not one that's found naturally occurring out in nature. It's very sparkly. That's why I like it so much. It's full of energy. But it has this very like buzzy, light, celebratory feel, which is exactly where we're going. You are headed towards celebration. So it was interesting when I pulled these tarot cards, this particular card was in reverse, as was the next one, but it didn't fit. And so I reversed them upright. Occasionally, I will adjust what the cards say because I know that intuitively they're not right. The cards themselves are right, but the orientation is not. Generally, I try to go with what is when it gets pulled out, but the wonderful thing about energy in the future is that you have free will, and so you can change the future. And in this case, we are changing the future with this tarot card reading. And it's going to lead to some really fabulous, fabulous outcomes for you. Celebration, of course, but new friendships by going and reaching out to this person and confiding in them about your situation. You're going to find yourself with a new friend. Even if what the ultimate outcome is of your situation is different than perhaps how they advised you, sharing with them and opening up in this way is how you're going to kindle that relationship. And ultimately, even if the situation itself doesn't lend itself to exactly the outcome you're looking for, you're going to have this wonderful friendship byproduct out of it. And that might be the win in and of itself. Just going to take a look at what the reverse is. I think the cautionary tale with this card, though, is don't turn it into a negative thing. Don't become so invested in your friendships that that becomes the focus and takes away from whatever the situation is at hand. You don't want to go on celebrating for too long or too hard. Celebrate your wins, but make sure you do so in a balanced way that still brings you back to life and keeps you grounded in your responsibilities and what you need to do. You're going to be just fine, and I know it. Good. Okay, so the last stone we're working with is obsidian. I think this is probably my favorite stone these days because we're going to bring you back to grounded. There's so much joy and so much celebration to be had, but we still need to stay in reality and not get carried away. And part of staying grounded is continuing to make movement and progress on your situation, your goal, and keeping up with that new inner strength and confidence that you found. Keep moving forward. And I think the caution here is don't become so rooted in your goals that you become aggressive or arrogant. And I know you won't be, but the risk of flying too close to the sun is that your wings will melt. So stay grounded in reality. Don't take your new friend for granted. Don't take your new winning situation for granted. Granted. How do you say that? You have long established good habits to finding success in life. You have great self discipline, great self control. Don't lose sight of that now just because you've had such a great success. I feel like I'm talking to myself here a lot of the time, but it is so true. Even if you feel superhuman, you are still, in fact, human for now. It might change later. There's some asterisks in there. Maybe you're not human. That's okay. For the intent of this, you are still human. We still have to get ourselves up in the morning, feed ourselves, be responsible for whatever things we've agreed to take in on our lives. Maybe it's a plant, or a dog, or kids, or spouse, a job. Probably most of us a job. Got bills to pay. I don't want you thinking about those bills right now. And I want you to enjoy this decision that you're making that will fly you close to the sun. But I want you to be confident, but don't be so confident. The whole point here is balance. Find your strength. Have strength in your confidence. Confidence in your strength. I think you guys know what I mean. But don't lose that formula for success that you've so carefully curated. That was a lot. There's a lot happening in this session. I can tell there's just like this draw to keep going and just enjoying the energy. And if you want to, after this, you can absolutely continue to just stay in the meditation, stay where you are, having a moment of peace, allow this to settle in. I'm excited for you. There's so much happening and so much good stuff. It's just this message of needing to stay balanced, stay grounded, have strength. It's really stick with this recipe that you've already figured out and maybe bring in some collaboration, some friends into this circle to really enhance this whole experience. Remember to keep breathing. I promise you don't need me to get through this. You've already got this. You are more powerful than you know. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.